Most people open their eyes in the morning and lose the battle before they even stand up, not because the world defeated them, but because their own mind attacked them the moment they woke. They let old memories poison their focus, they let fear decide their mood, and they let yesterday's weight crush today's potential. But listen to me, the first thought you choose at dawn is the difference between being a slave to your mind or becoming its master. If you can learn to clear toxic thoughts the moment your day begins, you will walk through the world untouchable, calm, sharp, unstoppable. This is not just morning discipline. This is morning transformation. And today, I'm going to show you how warriors cleanse their mind at dawn and rise above everything that tries to break them. 1. Your first thought determines your day. When the sun rises, your mind is in its most vulnerable and most powerful state at the same time. This is the moment when your subconscious is still soft, open, and impressionable, almost like wet clay that can be shaped into anything. During the first few minutes after waking, your mind has not yet built its usual defenses, and this makes it extremely sensitive to whatever thought enters first. If the first thought you allow is heavy, dark, filled with fear, or loaded with old worries, that one thought becomes the seed that grows into the mood, the attitude, and the emotions you carry for the rest of the day. Most people do not realize that their entire day collapses because they started it unconsciously. But if you choose your first thought with intention, if you decide it calmly and consciously instead of letting your mind choose it for you, you gain immediate control of the direction your day will take. A strong first thought acts like an anchor that keeps your mind steady no matter what challenges appear later. This is why your first thought is not just a moment. It is your steering wheel. If you hand that steering wheel to fear, regret, or negativity, your day will spin out of control. But if you grab it firmly the moment you open your eyes, you guide your entire day with clarity, discipline, and inner strength. Just like a warrior who enters each moment with awareness instead of chaos. Tell your mind what to do before it tells you what to feel. When you wake up, speak to yourself with calm authority. Today I choose clarity. Today I choose discipline. Today I choose strength. These words are not for motivation. They are mental commands that shape the emotions, reactions, and focus of the next 24 hours. When you consciously select this first thought, toxic thoughts weaken immediately because you have already chosen the direction of your mind. Instead of your mind pulling you into confusion, you lead it toward purpose. This simple morning practice, repeated daily, rewires your mental habits and gives you power over your entire life. 2. Remove the noise before it becomes storms. Every toxic thought begins as something small, so small that most people ignore it. It might be a quick memory from the past, a tiny doubt about the future, or a brief moment where your mind whispers, "What if everything goes wrong?" At first, it feels harmless. It feels like something you can brush off. But thoughts grow the moment you allow them to stay. What begins as a quiet whisper turns into a loud voice. And if you do not deal with it early, that voice becomes a storm that follows you throughout the entire day. This is how people lose control of their mind before the world even has a chance to challenge them. You must learn to remove mental noise early before it multiplies. When a thought appears that weakens you, whether it is fear, doubt, anger, regret, or insecurity, you do not let it sit inside you. You do not negotiate with it. You do not analyze it until it grows stronger. You examine it clearly. You ask yourself one simple question. Does this thought help me move forward, or does it drain my strength? If the thought does not serve your growth, if it breaks your focus, or if it shrinks your confidence, you remove it immediately. Toxic thoughts are like poison. Small doses seem harmless, but when they build up, they destroy you from the inside. Most people allow negative thoughts to repeat again and again without realizing that repetition gives those thoughts power. A thought becomes a belief only when you replay it enough times, so you must interrupt it the moment it appears. Replace it with clarity. Replace it with awareness. replace it with a stronger story about yourself. This is how warriors train their minds. They do not wait for weakness to grow into battles. They destroy weakness while it is still small. Clarity is not something that magically appears. Clarity is the result of removing everything that is not needed. The mind becomes sharp when you take away what distracts it. Every morning, pay attention to the very first negative whisper that tries to enter your mind. Do not ignore it. Do not entertain it. Remove it. When you do this, you stop storms before they even form, and your mind becomes a place of quiet strength instead of chaos. 3. Stillness is a weapon. Stillness is not the absence of thought, it is the mastery of it. Most people misunderstand silence. They think being still means being empty, passive, or doing nothing. But true stillness is one of the most powerful disciplines you can develop because it forces you to see your mind clearly instead of being dragged around by your emotions. When you sit in silence, even for just a few minutes each morning, you create a space between yourself and your thoughts. That distance is where your power lies. Instead of reacting automatically, you observe. Instead of being controlled, you become the one in control. When you train yourself to sit in stillness, the chaos in your mind starts to slow down. You begin to notice the thoughts that usually rush past you too quickly to understand. You start to see which thoughts are helpful and which ones are poisonous. And once you see them clearly, they lose their ability to manipulate your mood or shape your entire day. Negative thoughts survive only when the mind is frantic, overwhelmed, and distracted. They feed on confusion and unconscious reactions. But the moment you become still, those thoughts weaken because they have nothing to hide behind. I used meditation not to escape life, but to sharpen myself for it. Stillness gives you the ability to meet life with precision. It strengthens your awareness, your patience, your discipline, and your emotional control. It teaches you to respond instead of react. It makes your mind sharper than any blade you have ever held. A person who practices stillness becomes dangerous, not because they are violent, but because they cannot be easily shaken. Their calmness protects them from mental attacks. Their awareness prevents them from being fooled by their own fears. Their discipline allows them to stay steady even in chaos. Start your morning with stillness. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and let your mind settle like a calm lake. In that calmness, you will see the truth of your inner world. You will understand what needs to be removed, what needs to be embraced, and what needs to be redirected. You will gain a control that most people never experience because they spend their entire lives running from their own thoughts. Stillness is not weakness. It is your greatest inner weapon. When you master it, toxic thoughts cannot command you, emotions cannot hijack you, and the noise of the world cannot drown out your purpose. In stillness, you become untouchable. 4. What you feed your mind at dawn shapes your identity. The first few moments after you wake up are not ordinary moments. They are the foundation upon which your entire identity is rebuilt every single day. Most people do not understand how powerful the morning truly is. They think it is just another routine, waking up, checking their phone, rushing into their tasks, without realizing they are programming their mind with weakness before their day even begins. The mind, in the early hours, absorbs everything with incredible sensitivity, exactly the way dry soil absorbs the first drop of rain. Whatever you pour into it becomes the emotional tone, the mental rhythm, and the level of strength you carry for the rest of the day. If the first thing you consume is negativity, scrolling through other people's lives, comparing yourself, reading bad news, replaying old memories, or repeating old fears, you are feeding your mind poison at the exact moment it is most open. And when the mind receives poison at dawn, it continues to spread silently through every hour that follows. This is why so many people feel anxious for no reason, irritated for no reason, frustrated without understanding why. Their morning diet was toxic, so their entire day becomes toxic. Their identity slowly shapes itself around fear, insecurity, and confusion, simply because they fed their mind the wrong fuel the moment they woke up. But if you choose to feed your mind strength in those first minutes, if you choose clarity, discipline, gratitude, focus, and purpose, you immediately reshape your identity. You create a mindset that is calm, grounded, and capable. You are no longer reacting to life, you are designing it. The morning becomes your training ground where you decide who you are going to be. Identity is not something fixed. It is something you reinforce every single day through the thoughts you repeat, the images you focus on, and the emotions you allow to grow inside you. When you wake up and remind yourself of your purpose, you train your mind to move in one direction. When you fill your mind with gratitude instead of comparison, you train your heart to stay grounded. When you choose to think of strength instead of weakness, you build a version of yourself that is harder to break. And when you begin your morning with self-respect and discipline, you send a message to your entire nervous system. I control my day, I control my emotions, I control my mind. Most people let their mornings belong to the world. They let their phone decide their mood. They let yesterday decide their identity. But you must let your mornings belong to you. The mind is like a doorway that opens at dawn. If you allow negative influences to enter first, they take over everything. But if you walk through that door with intention and strength, no toxic thought can overpower you later. What you feed your mind at dawn is not just information, it is identity. And if you feed it the right things consistently, your entire life transforms not through force, but through the natural evolution of a disciplined mind. 5. Stop starting your day with yesterday's burdens. One of the heaviest forms of mental pollution is carrying yesterday into today. Most people wake up physically, but mentally they are still trapped in the memories, mistakes, emotions, and conflicts of the day before. Their body lies in the present, but their mind is still living in the past. This is why they wake up feeling tired even after sleeping, why their motivation feels weak, and why their thoughts feel cloudy before the day even begins. They are not starting fresh. They are starting weighed down, carrying emotional baggage they were never meant to bring into a new morning. You must understand something. The human mind is not designed to be dragged backward. It is designed to move forward. But every time you replay an old argument, every time you relive a mistake, every time you hold on to guilt, regret, shame, anger, or disappointment, you lock yourself into the past and drain your strength for the present. Yesterday's thoughts become today's cage. Yesterday's failures become today's fear. Yesterday's pain becomes today's identity. And if you allow this pattern to repeat, it becomes a mental habit that steals your clarity without you even noticing. You cannot begin your morning carrying the weight of yesterday because the morning is a rebirth. It is nature's way of giving you a new chance to reset your mind, renew your energy, and rebuild your focus. But most people waste this gift by dragging old stories into the new day. You must break this cycle. When you wake up, remind yourself with absolute certainty, yesterday is gone, I cannot change it, I do not need to carry it. Today is my clean slate. These words are not for comfort, they are for liberation. They free your mind from looping on what no longer matters. Letting go does not mean forgetting what happened. It means refusing to let what happened decide who you are today. It means refusing to let old emotions shape your new actions. It means choosing peace over repetition. Every morning you must empty your mind the way a warrior empties his cup before training. Because if the cup is already full, nothing new can enter. If your mind is full of yesterday, no strength, no clarity, and no new opportunity can enter your life today. Think of your mind like a room. If it is cluttered with old thoughts, old memories, old fears, old mistakes, there is no space for new ideas, new focus, or new energy. The room must be cleaned before it can be used. The same is true for your morning. You must clear out the emotional clutter. You must release yesterday's weight. You must breathe deeply and remind yourself that every day is a chance to rebuild your mind from the ground up. This is not weakness. This is discipline. It takes great strength to let go. Weak minds hold on to everything because they fear change. Strong minds release what no longer serves them because they understand that holding on is far more painful than letting go. When you stop starting your day with yesterday's burdens, you give yourself the freedom to meet the new day with clarity, power, and intention. You step into the morning as a new version of yourself, lighter, sharper, more aware, and ready to face whatever comes with calm confidence. Let today be today. Let yesterday stay in yesterday. And watch how your entire life begins to feel lighter the moment you stop carrying what was never meant to follow you into the sunrise. 6. Your energy in the first hour controls your power. The first hour after you wake up is the most important hour of your entire day, yet it is the hour people treat with the least respect. They rush it, they waste it, they pollute it with noise, they hand it over to distractions, and then they wonder why the rest of their day feels chaotic, unbalanced, or out of control. What they do not realize is that your energy in the first hour becomes the blueprint for your mind, your emotions, and your behavior for the next 10 or 12 hours. This is the hour that sets the tone for everything that follows, and if you lose control here, you lose control everywhere. When you begin your day in panic, jumping out of bed, rushing through tasks, immediately checking your phone, drowning yourself in notifications, messages, comparison, or negativity, you give away your mental strength before the day even starts. Your mind becomes reactive instead of focused. Your emotions become vulnerable instead of grounded. Your attention becomes scattered instead of sharp. And once you enter this reactive state in the morning, it becomes difficult to recover because the mind tends to stay in the state it started in. But when you begin your morning with intention, when you slow down and protect your energy like a warrior guarding something sacred, you build an inner foundation so strong that nothing and no one can shake it. The first hour is where you teach your mind how to behave for the rest of the day. If you start calm, you stay calm. If you start clear, you remain clear. If you start disciplined, distractions lose their power. This is why I say the first hour is your throne. Sit on it with strength, or the world will take it from you. Your energy at dawn is fragile. It is pure. It is still forming itself. It needs protection. That is why the first hour must belong to you and you alone. Not to your phone, not to other people's opinions, not to the demands of the world, and certainly not to anything that weakens your mind. Use this hour to breathe, to ground yourself, to reflect, to set your intention, to remind yourself who you are and what you are capable of. When you direct your energy early, everything later becomes easier because you are operating from a place of stability rather than confusion. Imagine the first hour of your day as the root of a tree. If the root is strong, the tree survives the winds. But if the root is weak, the tree breaks. Your morning energy is that root. If you strengthen it, no difficulty can uproot you, no negativity can infect you, no sudden problem can throw you off balance. You walk into the world with quiet power. A kind of power most people never experience because they rush their mornings instead of mastering them. Protect your first hour as if it were a secret ritual. Keep it quiet, keep it intentional, keep it free from chaos. When you do this consistently, your life becomes smoother, your thoughts become clearer, and your emotions become more stable. You stop being controlled by your environment and start becoming the one who controls the environment inside your mind. And that is what separates a weak person from a disciplined one. A weak person begins the day surrendering their energy. A disciplined person begins the day commanding it. Own your morning, and your mind will obey you for the rest of the day. This is how you become untouchable. 7. Become untouchable by mastering your inner dialogue. The most important conversation you will ever have in your life is the one you have with yourself every morning. Your inner dialogue is the invisible force that shapes your confidence, your decisions, your emotions, and your entire identity. What you say to yourself when no one is listening determines how you carry yourself when everyone is watching. Most people do not realize that the voice inside their mind is either their greatest ally or their greatest enemy, and because they never train that voice, it becomes wild, unstable, and easily influenced by fear, failure, doubt, and negativity. From the moment you wake up, your mind begins talking. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it shouts, sometimes it repeats old sentences you have heard since childhood. Sentences that were never meant to define you, but still sit inside you like unquestioned truths. Thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," "I always fail," "nothing works for me," or "I don't deserve better." These thoughts are not facts. They are habits. Mental habits that grow stronger every time you repeat them unconsciously. And the longer you allow these thoughts to speak without challenge, the more they weaken your spirit and limit your potential. But a warrior does not let his mind speak without discipline. A warrior trains his inner dialogue the same way he trains his body, with intention, repetition, and strict awareness. You must learn to replace the weak voice with a stronger one, not by force, but by awareness. When a toxic thought appears, do not panic. Do not run from it. Do not accept it as truth. Look at it directly and speak back with clarity. This is where your true power begins, because the voice you use to respond to your thoughts becomes the voice that leads your life. If your mind says, "I can't," you answer calmly, "I can learn." If your mind says, "I'm afraid," you answer, "I am aware, and awareness gives me control." If your mind says, "I'm not enough," you answer, "I am becoming stronger every day." If your mind says, "This is too difficult," you answer, "Difficulty is my training ground." With every response, you are not just talking, you are reshaping the architecture of your mind. You are building a new identity, brick by brick, thought by thought, morning after morning. You are teaching your brain how to think, how to react, and how to face challenges instead of collapsing under them. Your inner dialogue becomes your mental armor, the shield that protects you from the world's negativity and the sword that cuts through your own self-doubt. Most people think strength is physical. They think being powerful means being aggressive or loud. But true strength is silent. It comes from a mind that refuses to attack itself. It comes from a voice inside you that encourages, supports, and stabilizes you. When you master this voice, you become immune to external criticism because nothing anyone says is more powerful than what you say to yourself. You become immune to emotional attacks because your mind no longer exaggerates fear. You become immune to doubt because your inner voice leads you forward instead of pulling you backward. Inner dialogue is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about refusing to surrender to weakness. It is about choosing thoughts that strengthen you instead of thoughts that drain you. It is about speaking to yourself the way a master speaks to his student, with firmness, with wisdom, and with compassion. When you do this consistently, your mind becomes disciplined. When your mind becomes disciplined, your emotions obey you. And when your emotions obey you, nothing outside of you can shake you. This is what it means to become untouchable, not that problems disappear, but that your mind becomes so clear, so grounded, and so self-directed that problems no longer have the power to break you. A man who has mastered his inner dialogue has mastered himself, and a man who has mastered himself cannot be defeated by anything or anyone. 8. Clean your mental environment before the world enters it. Before you allow the world to enter your mind each morning, you must first prepare the environment inside your mind itself. Most people wake up and immediately let the outside world flood into their thoughts. Messages, notifications, worries, opinions, news, and endless noise. They do this before they even check the condition of their inner world. It is like inviting guests into a house that has not been cleaned. When the mind is already cluttered and you let more clutter enter, chaos becomes unavoidable. You cannot expect peace when you do not create space for it. Your mental environment is the internal atmosphere you carry before anyone speaks to you, before any problem appears, before you engage with life. If this environment is messy, filled with old emotions, restless thoughts, scattered attention, and unprocessed worries, then everything you experience during the day becomes heavier and harder to handle. Even small issues begin to feel overwhelming because the mind has no space to organize them. This is why so many people feel mentally exhausted before noon. They start their day with a mind that is already overflowing. A warrior begins his morning differently. He checks his inner space before allowing the world in. He asks himself, what is cluttering my mind today? What thoughts do not belong here? What emotions am I carrying that do not serve my purpose? This is mental cleaning. This is the discipline of clearing the space inside you so you can meet life with a strong, calm presence. It is not about ignoring your problems. It is about organizing your mind so your problems lose their power to overwhelm you. Cleaning your mental environment means letting go of unnecessary thoughts. It means refusing to replay old conversations or old mistakes. It means noticing the thoughts that are out of your control and releasing them instead of gripping them tightly. It means taking 3 or 4 deep breaths and resetting your emotional state before you let the outside world touch it. Breath is the broom that sweeps your inner space. Awareness is the light that reveals what needs to be removed. Discipline is the hand that cleans. When you protect your mental environment in the morning, you become selective about what you allow inside. You do not let everyone's energy enter your mind. You do not let negative stories take root. You do not let the world dictate your mood. Instead, you allow only what strengthens you: clarity, purpose, gratitude, focus, and self-respect. And when your inner world is clean, the outside world cannot shake you easily. You become grounded, centered, and emotionally balanced, no matter what happens. Your mind is a sacred space. If you do not protect it at dawn, it becomes vulnerable to every disturbance. But if you cleanse it before the world enters, you carry a quiet power with you everywhere you go. You move through life with peace instead of panic, clarity instead of confusion, and strength instead of fear. This is the foundation of a disciplined mind, not controlling everything around you, but controlling what you allow inside you. Clean your mental environment each morning, and you will notice something extraordinary. The world becomes easier to handle, people become easier to understand, and challenges become easier to face. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And that is the true beginning of mastery. Listen carefully, because everything you have heard so far leads to this final truth. Your morning is not just the beginning of your day. It is the beginning of your mind. It is the moment when you decide whether you will lead or be led, whether you will act with intention or react with confusion, whether you will rise with strength or collapse under the weight of old thoughts. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control the world around them, never realizing that the world becomes easier to control the moment they learn to command themselves. And the place where this command begins is dawn. Every toxic thought you allow in the morning becomes a chain that follows you throughout the day. Every thought you challenge and replace becomes a step toward inner freedom. The mind is like water, disturbed easily but also calmed easily if you know how to guide it. When you wake up with awareness, when you choose your first thought, when you decide your inner dialogue, when you clean your mental space, when you protect your energy, when you let go of yesterday, and when you stand in stillness, you are not simply preparing for the day. You are building a mind that cannot be defeated by anything that happens during the day. A man who controls his morning controls his emotions. A man who controls his emotions controls his actions. A man who controls his actions controls his destiny. This is why the morning is sacred. It is your training ground. It is where you sharpen your awareness, strengthen your discipline, and build the mental armor that protects you from negativity. Do not waste this gift. Do not give away your first hour. Do not let fear, doubt, or the noise of the world enter before you decide who you are. When you cleanse your mind at dawn, you do not become perfect, you become untouchable. Problems will still come, but they will not break you. People will still talk, but they will not influence you. Challenges will still appear, but they will not control you. You move through life with a deep stillness inside, like a calm lake that reflects everything but is disturbed by nothing. This is the true meaning of mastery, not the absence of problems, but the presence of an unshakable mind. Remember this: the world does not decide your peace. Circumstances do not decide your strength. Other people do not decide your worth. You decide these things every morning with the thoughts you choose and the discipline you practice. Your morning is your power, your mind is your battlefield, and your discipline is your weapon. Train your mind at dawn, protect it, purify it, sharpen it, and each day step into the world as someone who cannot be moved easily, controlled easily, or broken easily. This is how you rise. This is how you transform. This is how you become untouchable.